So I'm going to shoot a quick video here of my 2010 Harley Davidson Sportster 883. This is an Iron Edition. And I want to show you the most recent edition here, and that is the docking hardware that I just put on here yesterday. So what do you need the docking hardware for? Well, if you want to put on a sissy bar, if you want to put on saddlebags, if you want to put on a luggage rack, all of those things will use the docking hardware. Now, I believe this docking hardware fits all Sportsters 2001 to current, I want to say is what the instructions said. There are also some 1200 models that include this straight from the factory, so you don't have to worry about purchasing this separately. But like I said, this is an 883 model. It didn't include those, and I wanted to add them so I could add a sissy bar. So let's go ahead and take a look at this real quick. So one thing to note, if you look here at the shock, you'll notice that it's got a star bit here. And if we look at this particular bolt for the docking hardware, you'll notice that this is a hex. Now the factory bolts that were there that I took out actually are star bit as well. I didn't happen to have any star bits, so I had to go and purchase an entire set because I couldn't find just a single one. So if you're looking at doing this, the star bit you will need is a T40. And that will take out the factory bolt that's there, as well as the one that's back there. And then the hex bit that you will need for the docking hardware here is 3/16. So here is the hardware that came off the bike. So you'll see we've got two sets of bolts. There was two shorter bolts, those were in the back here. And then we've got two longer bolts. Each one of those had a little washer here, and then they also have these nuts that were in the back side of this. Now the docking hardware includes 4 docking points, so 2 back and then 2 front, 4 bolts, all of the same size. So unlike these, which were different size, these are all the same size up here. And they also include 2 nuts for the front docking points. So in order to remove the factory bolts here, let's start here with the front. So again, the front had a bolt going through a washer, and then on the back side there is a nut. Now, depending on the size of your hand, you may or may not be able to easily get it back there. If you are able to easily get it back there, if you have a 1/2 inch open-ended wrench, you can stick it back there to hold the nut in place, and then simply use that star bit to loosen the bolt and then take it right out. And just watch the nut that's back here, because it will fall down. Now to put this back on, one thing to note is obviously there'll be a hole through here. So if you take your fingers and, with the bolt in hand, with the nut in hand, you can run it back up there and you can actually see through the hole going through here where that nut is, and you can line it up with the hole back there. And then run this new bolt through there, again, through the docking hardware, and just kind of finger tighten it so that you can get your wrench back in there, hold the nut, and then tighten this down. On the back side here, there is actually a locking clip that's back here. I've actually got my fingers on it right now. So this one's really easy to get to. So as long as you are holding this, you can loosen this bolt up, take it out, and then as long as you're continue holding this, it's not going to go anywhere. So then with your other hand, you can just take the new bolt and this docking point, run it through there, hold on to this, and then hand tighten this up, and then just use your ratchet to finish tightening it. Now the instructions say to tighten this to 15 foot-pounds of torque. I don't have a torque wrench, so I just use my ratchet. Just snug this down. I didn't over tighten it. Some reviews / videos I saw online of people installing this docking hardware is that a few of them ran into issues in that they torqued this down way too much, and essentially what it did was compress this little area here, this little black area. And when they tried to install, in the case of the video I was watching, the sissy bar, it wouldn't fit because again, this area was too compressed and it was too small for the docking point on the sissy bar. So again, I just snugged it down with the ratchet. If you do have a torque wrench, 15 foot-pounds is what it recommends. And also for the nuts, you will want, for the bolts, you'll want to put on blue thread lock. it tells you to do so in the instructions. So I would also recommend it. In this particular brand, it says it's is anti-vibration, so it won't come loose, which is something that's pretty important as you're going down the road on a bike like this where it's vibrating quite a bit. So you will also notice here on the backside, one other thing to take note of is that there's a very small gap here to get your wrench in there. So what you will have to do, or what I did, was simply pop off this cap, which is really easy to do. There's just a little slot right here, stick a screwdriver in there, twist it a little bit, pops right off. Take out the light bulb that's in there. That'll give you plenty of room to get your wrench in there, and then you can easily loosen and then tighten the new bolt in there. Simply put the bulb back in, pop the cap back on, good to go. And then, yeah, I just did the same thing on the other side. So got the back one here, and I got the front one right there. So pretty easy install. I would say overall it was probably 15-20 minutes or so. I mean, the back is a breeze. It's really just, like I said, popping off the cap, popping off the light bulb, and then holding the locking clip that's in place here while you're taking the factory one out and putting on the new one here. And then the front, it's really just lining up that nut when you're trying to get the new bolt to go through there. So I do have a sissy bar ordered. It should be here within the next week and a half, 2 weeks or so. So once I get that, I plan on shooting a follow-up video to kind of show you how that works with the docking hardware. And then my wife will be happy because as we're going down the road, she won't have to worry about flying off the back. She'll have actually some back support on there. So, all right. So if anyone has any questions about the install here for the docking hardware here, go ahead and post those in the comments, and I will try to get those answered.